welcome to the She Show.
The She Show, yeah.
With your hosts, I'm Josie.
And I'm Lulu.
And we want to thank you for tuning in to our very first episode of The She Show.
The She Show.
Where
We're she's.
We're she's.
That's how we came up with it. That simple, right?
Yes. We are she's.
She's.
From different generations.
Different generations, yep. So we have similarities and differences, and we are going to explore that in this podcast, right?
That's right. It's going to be
all right. Josie, what's on your mind today?
Okay. So while talking about creating this She Show podcast, we thought it might be fun to pick a few topics that we'll have similarities on, but differences, and that anybody can relate to. Wait, isn't that just what a podcast is supposed to do? It's probably not very...
Is it? I don't know. I'm not from the podcast generation.
We're not very original here at the She Show.
I'm from the cartoons in the newspaper generation.
We're going to discuss that more at length. Okay, so let's kick it off with a pet peeve.
Pet peeve.
Pet peeve. Oh, I liked that. Maybe you can be our new sound effect for pet peeve. Fantastic.
That's not good.
Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing one of my pet peeves, and I guess I'll have to say a little bit about myself. So I am the quintessential A-type personality. I know.
A for excellent.
Yeah. So, which is interesting because this will make more sense in a minute. My office, now Lulu and I work together. My office will mostly be organized and structured, but over the course of weeks, things start to clutter. I build little nesty piles, and then I put things away, and it's all clean again. And this is how I operate, and I do this at home too. However, I have a pet peeve against everyone else in my home.
Wow. Okay.
I know. Over the shower curtain. We have an old home, and it's, a traditional shower curtain.
How old is it?
Oh, well, our house was built in 1870.
Woo, that's old.
Yes. So we do not have like a fancy modern shower or the nice sliding doors or the glass doors that you can like Windex and clean, whatever. I have a shower curtain.
I hate those things, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I take a shower, and then I close the curtain so that the water will run off and it will be open and it can air out. Makes sense, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm with you.
I'm the only person in the house that consistently does that. And every time I go into the bathroom, now our master bathroom is on the ground floor. I have to use that. I walk in, and the shower curtain is open, and I have to rip it across, and it drives me crazy. I cannot leave it standing open. I can't do it.
I get it. That's like, you like things the way you like them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you live with somebody else, I don't live with anybody anymore, so I can do whatever I want. I can get mad at the shower curtain. Actually, I just had guests, speaking of shower curtain, and I like to wipe the walls after the shower and then, leave the curtain open to dry it out and have the window open. Well, and I love them dearly. They're really like my best friends, but they always close the curtain. So I walk in, and I'm like, I don't want my guests to hate me. So I leave it closed, but mentally I'm like, I wish the curtain was open. So it took me 3 days into the visit to slightly keep cracking the curtain open a little bit.
That's too
because
funny.
everybody has their thing. My friend has her thing. I have the way I like it. It's like pretty normal.
So it's funny because living with someone, it feels like I'm going around correcting him and my children all the time.
Well,
I'm like, that's not very nice.
That's like, I'll just say from experience with, partners, with men, that That's always been the complaint. I don't care what kind of woman you are, whatever. Men are going to perceive that anyway, okay? And we do have a tendency to correct. I had a mom who was great. I love my mother, but she liked to correct you. It never bothered me. I guess, never bothered me. For me, it rolled off my back. But I'm my mother. It happens. It happens. You don't want to, but you find yourself saying stuff and you go, oh my God, that's my mother. My niece said that the other day. She said something to me and she was in my home and said, why don't you do it that way, Auntie? And then she said, oh my God, I sound like my mother. I said, that's okay. It happens. It happens. What are you going to do?
Right.
But I think to be conscious of that, see, you're conscious of it, and that's another conversation of those who are enlightened and want to work on things that they see. So if it affects your family, your husband, the husband especially, then you could say, okay, maybe I don't have to do that every time.
No, I have to.
I can mentally stop myself from saying it.
Oh, I don't say anything.
But you just think it.
No, I don't think it either. I just walk in and, the shower's totally open and the curtain's all scrunched up, so I just pull it across.
But you never say.
I never say a word about it. I just do it.
I thought you said that you correct.
I say it's a form of correction because I'm just walking around changing stuff, but I don't tell them. I just do it.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, I wouldn't count that.
Okay, well, that makes me feel better.
If you verbally were saying all the time, do this, do that, do it my way. So
that would.
So you got a lot of pent up frustration over there.
No,
Josie.
It's one of those. I see it and I can't help myself. I'm like, oh, I have to change this, but I don't say anything to anybody. I just do it.
Well, see, you keep the peace in the family.
Keep the peace.
That's it. My pet peeve doesn't happen all the time, but when it happens, it's like, oh my God, please, someone help me. You know those tongs
for like a grill?
Yeah, but they're like kitchen tongs.
Okay.
So they slide to lock.
Oh, so
and
we
I have
use
the skinny little drawer that
Okay.
I keep all my stuff in because I have a tiny galley kitchen. So, once in a while the thing gets stuck, and I can't open the drawer because the pinchers flipped open, whatever you call them.
pinchers.
The pinchies, they flipped open. So now I'm like, how do I open this drawer? Okay, then this is related. That's kitchen pet peeve. Mm-hmm. And then I got a lazy Susan underneath it.
Oh, I hate lazy
Now,
Susans.
My fault. I put too much stuff in it, so I bought some really nice Greek oregano from the Greek store. Mm-hmm. I'm Greek, obviously, and it was in a plastic bag, and I put it what I thought was safe, and the thing fell behind it. And I have it's like socks, when you lose socks. Mm-hmm. Now I'm trying to find the thing behind the lazy Susan, and I don't know how to get it out because I can't see it. So I keep twirling the thing around. So those are my, little kitchen pet peevers of the day.
Those are good. Those don't involve other people. That's very good.
No, it's, I'm keeping that one to myself.
Yeah, if he's listening, it's nothing personal. It's me being very anal, and so I grew up in a military family. And
who's listening? Your husband Socrates?
If my husband Socrates is listening, it's not his fault. It's my upbringing in a military disciplined house. I have certain proclivities, and things have to be a certain way. And I've worked really hard to adjust that, especially having children that tend to touch things and move things and break things.
Oh yeah, kids.
I've let a lot go. I'm growing.
Yeah. Well, when you grow up in structure, like you did, I think it's good. It's good, but it can affect other people depending upon their personality. So
right,
oftentimes people get matched up with people that doesn't bother. Mm-hmm. Is he an A type?
No,
that's
definitely
not good.
And actually, what's pretty funny. So I am very organized and structured. He's less so. I like to move things around the house quite often. So I grew up in a military family, as I already stated. We moved a lot. I never spent more
So
than
you like to change stuff.
yeah, 2 to 4 years in one place, and then poof, we were gone somewhere else. So this is the first for me, have been in our home 10 years this month. That's the longest I've ever been in one place,
Wow.
but it feels really weird. So I have to move the rooms around and change the dining room into the living room and whatever. I do a lot of rearranging. My poor husband, Socrates, has.
Sorry, I gave him a Greek name.
I like it. He could be Greek. Socrates.
Yeah, you're like 1/8 Greek or 1/100th.
Like 1/100th or something. It's spec. So I moved things in the kitchen, which really is his domain more than my own. I do not like to cook. We'll talk about that on
That
another
works out.
episode. But he does. Well, actually, he doesn't like it, but he does it, and I appreciate that. So, anyways, I moved things in the kitchen, saying like, "Oh, this is an improvement. This is better over here." And the poor guy, I moved it months ago, and he still goes to the same cupboard that it used to be in, and gets all frustrated when he can't find.
Josie. It's like, I'm a cook, so the kitchen is my domain. And I don't know what it is, It's like I have all kinds of people, relatives, friends, come in my kitchen and they move things because they do it that way. Isn't this better? Or don't you need this? Or my sister's like, you should throw those away. They're like my mother's utensils from 1950, and I don't want to throw them away, even though they got a little, screw loose and they squeak. I want to keep it. Mm-hmm. But everybody's got their thing, and and they like to, I hate to use the word impose, but it is kind of that.
Sure.
So that's his place.
Yeah, which I've let go, I will say. And when I do make a change, I'll say, I was
funny.
thinking, what if we did this over here and bring him in on the project? And he said, yeah, that's great. And he even helped me with the project, but he still forgot that the stuff involved in the project had been moved and still looks in the old location.
Yeah, well,
It's pretty funny.
poor Saki, maybe he's not, retaining the kind of stuff you do.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Yeah. People think differently.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I could talk about behavior all day long because people are so different. And to try to adjust to someone, I don't care if they're your friend or workplace people or whoever they are, it is an adjustment your whole life. Mm-hmm. New
It's
people
true.
walk in your life. You have to adjust to them, and they have to adjust to you.
Or
That's
heaven
it.
help
And
them.
I'll just say, in the workplace, Josie's always changing stuff, and I'm like, okay. I don't, but
Wait.
it doesn't upset me.
Lulu, it's always for the better.
It's always for the better, Josie. But if I have, me, if I got something to say, I'll say it.
Exactly.
Otherwise,
And I'm
it doesn't
receptive.
affect me.
I'm receptive to
You
that.
You are. See, that I appreciate that about you
Yeah.
because you will listen, even though I could see one eyeball light up.
Not all the time.
I think you're done getting rid of most of the old
Think
stuff.
so. I still need to clean out the attic. Got some
Oh yeah,
skeletons
Who
up
wants
in that
to do
attic.
that? Do
I'm
you
thinking
really want to do it?
my children are going to be on summer break really soon. I might put their able bodies to work helping us clear out some of that stuff.
God.
That'd be really good. They're young and fit and
See, you need the youngsters.
agile. Yeah,
The youngsters climb up, pull
absolutely.
things out. That place is like a nightmare.
It is. We have an attic here in our office, and it houses things from, I don't know, the 1970s.
It's not good stuff. I mean, you think it would, if it was like, what's that show on PBS?
Oh,
I
I want to say Treasures in the Attic, but I know that's not it. It's,
the heck is
the
the name
Antique
of-
Roadshow.
Antique Roadshow.
Yeah.
Why can't I find those kinds of things?
I can't either.
I just find junk.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe
Nothing.
we'll find a treasure up there.
Maybe.
Maybe somebody left gold from pirate days.
In the meantime, we won't quit our day jobs.
No, we'd have to turn it in. No, we wouldn't.
No,
We would not.
We would not discuss that we found anything.
All right. What else we got,
We
Josie?
were going to talk about, and it went right out of my head too. You can't make this up. Is that right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe
I
it.
should have written it down.
It's something to that effect.
Yeah, stuff you can't make up.
Stuff you can't make up.
Well, one thing that's always kind of nuts. I don't know. Might be more common than I think, but you know, I used to live in a house years ago in Brockton, and I had a neighbor who like the house was trashed all the time, trashed. You know, tchotchkes. I don't know if you know what a tchotchke is.
I know what a tchotchke
in the
is.
front yard, stuff, hoarding stuff, all of that, attracting animals and stuff like that.
Nasty.
And you think, how do people live like that? You know? So I don't know if it's stuff you can't make up. It's just probably more like shock. Shock. Like, you know, it gets worse and worse every year, and it gets crazier and crazier. And then one day I noticed there's like there's no handle on the door, no lock on the door, no handle, just
So
a
you
hole.
just push it open?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I don't know. I like some feedback, you know, to anything that we say. It's our first show, but if you want to let us know what you think of anything, and please be kind. Try to be kind, because if you're not kind, you'll bring out the bad Lulu. Bad Lulu ain't good. But she's fun, but she ain't good. She rotten.
So where can they reach out to us, Lulu?
Let's see.
Well-
Our podcast is the She Show, but it's under the umbrella of Boldly Go podcast suite. And what's our email?
I think our email is boldlygoborn@gmail.com.
Right. Boldly Go Born, BOURNE @gmail.com. And in your email, just make the subject The She Show.
Yes, great.
And again, say whatever you want, but try to be kind. Josie and Lulu. But we're interested, like, what you think about the topics that we talk about, or if you want to hear something else, or, you know, especially if you're a male commenting,
Yeah.
or female that wants us to talk about different things, because we really haven't gotten into a lot of the differences of our
Generation.
ages.
We're going to get there.
But we will
I think we're
get
getting there.
there.
Yeah, and if you have something for discussion, or you have a pet peeve you'd like to share, or an unbelievable shocker like my friend Lulu,
It's just like, I don't know. It's like, you know, I feel like I have to run past the house
okay,
because fleas are coming out of it or something.
so mine actually dovetails into yours. So I was in my living room, and I have a beautiful bay window that looks across the street, lovely view, really nice. And we're just sitting there visiting, and there's this car, I think it was a Jeep, driving erratically. And I live on like a 30-mile-an-hour street. It's not a real busy road, but, you know. Anyway, so it looked like they were going to come into our front yard. They pulled to a really short stop right across from us on the opposite side of the road. They opened their door, and I'm wondering what on earth is going on. Did they see something in the road? They're having a medical emergency? I don't know. This is gross. I have to forewarn you, listeners,
Possibly viewers.
The woman in the Jeep leaned over, opened her door, and vomited
Nice.
all over the street. And it was like toxic green. Like, do you know like Mountain Dew green?
Ew.
It looked like that. And I'm like, oh my, you know.
Aliens.
So that happens. The weird, not weird, the other nasty part, she was smoking a cigarette. So she just dropped the
She was
cigarette.
smoking and vomiting
Yeah.
at the same time?
Yes.
Oh, my
And she
God.
dropped the cigarette into the puddle, proceeded to take a napkin within her vehicle and wipes her face, Then she's wiping like the door, and then she's wiping the steering wheel. And the whole time, my husband and I are standing there, Socrates. I'm gonna
You're in your house
Americanize
going, oh my.
Socrates to Socrates. So we're like, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. And she's wiping it all over the wheel after wiping it off the door, drops the napkin, and drives away and leaves her vomit and napkin vomit in the middle of the road. The worst part,
That is stuff you can't make up.
she's a delivery vehicle, and it
What?
says what company she's delivering sandwiches for. So
Wow.
I felt
Compelled.
compelled. Thank you. I was going to say impulsed. That's not the right word. Compelled
It's all right.
to call the company.
Did you?
I did.
Wow.
And I said, I'm really sorry. I'm not placing an order for a delivery or a pickup, but here's the situation. And, I was appalled, and I wouldn't want this person delivering my lunch.
No, plus it's directly in front of your house.
It was really gross.
Come on, you couldn't get out of the car and puke in the bushes?
Or you got to, whatever, I get it, but do you have to throw your trash
Well, get out of the
in the
car
middle
and
of the
puke
road?
in the bush.
Well, that, or, don't throw.
Or if you can't help it.
Right.
I guess
I
you
mean,
can't
you
help.
can't help it, but you can help throwing the napkin litter into the road and adding to the problem, and your cigarette butt that's still burning. I mean, it was just disgusting.
Trying to hide it so it's not in the car. Or whatever vehicle
oh.
that she's in. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Get rid
it
of the
was her
evidence.
personal vehicle with one of the rooftop, identifiers for the company. I'm not naming any names here, but
What did they say?
so
Curious.
they appreciated my phone call. They said, "Oh, that's really disgusting. Thank you for letting us know." And I said, "I'm not trying to, throw the woman under the bus or anything, but, maybe she's ill and she shouldn't be delivering food today." And he's like, "Oh, the manager's in. She's going to talk to her as soon as she
Oh,
gets
my.
here."
So
And he
they-
wanted to know what street I was on.
So they know who she is.
He knew the vehicle when I started.
Uh-oh.
He's like, "Oh, it's this," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's it." He's like, "Yep, I know who she is."
Oh, my.
And then he wanted me to identify the street, and I was really nervous about that because if somebody told you, the person,
Well, yeah.
you
It
know,
opens up, you don't know.
yeah. So I said the street that it happened on. I didn't say that I was a resident of the street or that I was in my house. I didn't give that information.
Well, that's good.
But I was really worried that she would come drive by because she knew where it happened, and it was right outside my door. So, yeah, I can't make that up. That's my share.
Yeah, well, that's, one of the freak things. Although, when I was a youngster, something like that happened to me, but I did not throw anything in the street. I
you do?
actually, because I'm a Virgo, everything I do is very delicate, including throwing up. For those fellow Virgos out there, yes, it has. Falling, I've learned how to fall very ladylike. Don't fall bad.
I can't even imagine what delicate throw up is.
It's dainty. It's like, back in my real young days, like early 20s, I must have gone out disco dancing the night before. Had to go to work. It was a Saturday the next day. And I'm driving, and I know it's going to happen, whether I like it or not.
Oh, no.
So I pull over to the side of the road. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I just barely opened the door, and, there it went. But it was dainty. It was just a little splashy roux. And then I just took a napkin, closed the door, went to work, went in, washed up, rinsed my mouth out, and that was it. I was done. But it wasn't disgusting green.
Well, who knows what this...
Green.
It was green.
Mountain Dew.
That's my hope. Mountain Dew.
She topped herself off
Yeah,
with Mountain Dew.
and she coughed. Maybe it went down the wrong tube, and when you like choke it up, maybe that's what happened.
Maybe it wasn't throw up. It
Yeah,
was like
I drank too much
Mountain
Mountain Dew.
Yeah. So we're gonna give the poor woman the benefit of the doubt.
We're gonna give her the benefit of the doubt.
I hope they didn't fire her.
Well, and that's what I tried to express on the phone call. I said, I'm not trying to get her in trouble, but maybe she's ill, and you should make sure she's okay. That was kind of how I left it. I didn't know what else to do. It happened in front of me. It was one of
It
those
was a little
moments.
shocker.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like that's the stuff you
Well,
can't make up,
okay.
shockers.
So does that happen to you? You're somewhere, okay? It's isn't this their term called the bystander syndrome? Isn't that what it's called? Where everybody's witnessing a crime and nobody says
Nobody
anything
says or does anything.
because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
assume the other person's gonna. Okay,
Oh, they don't want to get
or they don't
involved.
want to get involved.
Mostly it's they don't want to get involved.
And we got Rear Window, Alfred
They
Hitchcock.
don't want somebody to hurt them and lash out at them.
Sure. But do you ever find yourself in those situations where you're there, you're one of the witnesses, and you realize if I don't say anything, nobody's going to? That's kind
Yeah.
of how
Well,
this situation.
that's a choice you make. I guess what kind of person are you out there?
I'm one of those I say something type of people, I guess. I've proven it twice. That was one incident, and I had another incident happen in a parking lot, and many people witnessed,
And nobody did anything
and
or
nobody
said
did.
anything?
No.
Yeah, I guess I'm that type. I yell and scream. I don't remember if anything's happened. It'll probably come to me in the past, but yeah, I'd be the one standing there going, "Hey, you!" if I saw something. Mm-hmm. Where a lot of people wouldn't do anything. I can't remember what it was, a TV show or a movie or something, where they actually highlighted that thing you're talking about. In this day and age, everybody was shooting videos on their cell phone. It could have been real, actually.
Right.
And it's like somebody's getting beaten up in the middle of
And
the
no one's
street,
doing
and they're shooting the
anything.
video, and they're putting it up on YouTube. It's like, what about the person? There's a person here who's getting hurt.
Right. And trying to intervene and help.
There are people who did come in, and do something, but it's shocking that you actually shoot a video of someone getting hurt, getting beat up, or shot. What's that? I'm back to what's that? All right, and here we go. This is the thing. Back in my day.
Oh, here we
I
go.
love saying
Let's
back in
get
my
into
day.
generations.
Well, I
now.
grew up in the 50s and 60s, and things were different. If there was violence, we didn't really see it. Neighborhoods were a lot safer. I live in a safe neighborhood, I have to say. But you hear and you see these things, especially inner city. We're not in the inner city. We're in good old Bonn, as my aunt used to call it. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't get. It's hard to see things change to the point where people don't care about each other. I guess that's what I'm
So,
saying.
do you think, and this is a question I'm asking, and I guess I'm asking our listeners too, that today's day, we're recording everything and witnessing everything to have our moment of fame. So, you know how YouTube has like blown up and everybody's like a YouTuber. Is that even a term? A YouTuber, and they have their shows and they get advertising revenue and people tune in to see
Yeah.
ridiculous whatever it is.
Well, people talk about the desensitization, if that's the correct word. Yeah, so you become desensitized because of the videos and everything you see, and
Right.
the movies and all
And
that.
in addition to
I love movies, but
in addition to the
happens.
desensitization, it's also if I get the best video of this and I put it on my social feeds, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, I'm going to get up-liked, up-clicked, whatever, 100 million times more than
yeah,
I was.
For what cost?
And that's the question,
I don't know. That's a topic that always interests me, because I'm like, how can we swing more to the nice, kind side and help each other out, which is what we're supposed to be doing in this world, and not be mean. And I hope I don't go into a political discussion, so I'll stop now.
Well, and just to finish that thought, I have tried, and my husband have tried to instill in our children that we do things for the reasons of doing them, not for recognition, not for money, not for any sort of pat on the back. You just do good things and help people because that's the right thing to do, and whether anybody sees you or not. So one of the big things I said to all of my children was, who are you when nobody is watching? So that's something I try to really impress upon them, that
Yeah, that's good.
that's what, we're supposed to be doing, and not grabbing our cell phones and recording and being like, hey, I caught this
Yeah,
accident
that
on,
adds on to what you
know?
were saying. The whole cell phone thing. But going back to the fact that nobody will interfere to stop something, because, and maybe it's fear. A lot of it's fear of getting involved. It takes a bold, brave person to do that, and thank God they're around.
Yeah. I just think more people need to do something and less
Yeah.
observation.
Well, I think if more people do, overcome that fear and help people out, like, oh, okay, there was a show, crazy show. I'm a TV movie head, some kind of game show, and they usually have people on, contestants on that do something extraordinary or help somebody out, or sort of hero-ish types. And this story took place in New York City subway.
Oh.
Okay, so there was a young man, African American man, who lost his footing, came out of a ball game. Everybody was going home, must have had a couple of drinks, fell into the tracks as the train was coming. And someone shot a video of it, which I guess is a good thing, because, you could see the heroism. And at the last second, this man reached down and, with superhuman strength, pulled this guy up
That's
and
incredible.
saved his life. He put his hand up, and he described it as, it all happened so fast, and all I saw was his hand go up, and I grabbed his hand and pulled him up. And then they had video of them in the subway going, and this young black man and this middle-aged white man were hugging, and
That's so
and the
nice.
kid was crying. So that's a very touching thing. But what motivates somebody to do that? You just do it.
Right. Well, I guess that goes back. Is it Jung? Is it Freud? I am really bad. You're Greek. Maybe you know all these things.
Let me put my philosophical
the fear,
hat on.
the flight or flight.
Yeah, fright or flight.
Yeah. Who?
But if you're in the background, I think that happens to a lot of us. Our instinct is to do something if we're not thinking about it.
But
But if you got a cell phone in your hand, that's a whole other thing. I don't get
yeah.
it.
So that's not flight or
No, that's
fight.
like,
It's
I'm going to, is it real that this is happening and someone's going to get killed in front of your eyes and
I'm
be
gonna catch
splattered
it?
all over the...
That's
yeah,
gross.
you're filming
Ooh.
what?
Yeah.
The train's coming. It can't be pretty.
No.
No.
Ugh.
So I don't know
That's
if
really
anybody was
disturbing.
out there that actually, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, at least this incident turned out good because the kid was saved.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of stories like that.
I think you're right.
I like good stories.
I think there's more instances of heroism and doing something than standing by and just letting bad things happen. And I think sometimes it has to do with perceived authority being involved. You know how sometimes in a police situation, citizens won't do anything because the police are in charge and the police are handling the situation.
Yeah.
I think some of that
Well, it's like pass
goes
the
on.
buck. Somebody else will help.
Yes.
Somebody else will do it.
Yeah. So I think that's part of.
Or I'm fragile. I'm old. I'm this. How am I going to help?
Well, I think this leads me to ask my friend Lulu here, in a situation, I'm going to have to come up with a scenario for us, and I'm going to have to put us to the test if we would fight or flight. That might have to be on our next.
Fight or flight. Oh,
Yeah.
Are you gonna do like a a new game show segment.
I think we might need
Like,
to.
and Mike put me like in the middle of the Born Rotary and see what I do. What are you gonna do? Push me out of the van? What?
While I
Now you're
recorded
scaring
with
me,
my
Josie.
cell phone.
While you're driving and recording and pushing me.
I'm a one-man band. I can do it all.
You can do it all.
Oh my.
I don't know. Well, let's see. What would that scenario? What is a fight or flight scenario? Is that like watching somebody,
Well,
or is that a whole different
okay,
thing?
so for example, not to dwell in like a negative place, but we talk about it's a real thing, school shootings. Okay, so you had what happened in Uvale where the cops stood outside and didn't get into the building quickly
Yeah.
enough, and we lost a lot of
Right.
children. And then you
Yeah.
have other situations, I think it was Tennessee, where immediately people jump into action and try and, take the shooter down. So,
Yeah.
and you can't really predict until you're in the situation, but would you
No.
fight or would you flight? Go hide
Would you
and
go hide, protect yourself? That's your instinct,
yeah.
is to protect yourself. But if you see someone else in harm's way, I
Right,
would hope
would
I'd
you?
be the one who
Right,
would go help.
right.
And I don't know, this is going to sound weird, but, the older I get, the less I care about myself. Does that make sense?
It does.
I don't mean that I don't care about myself. I do, and I take care of myself. But I'm more looking at society or people differently
That makes
and working on that. Like, we're all the same.
no, that makes
That you
absolute
have to help.
perfect
And
sense.
I'm old anyway, so, hey, I had a good time.
Well, so it kind of ties back to my earlier, you see something, do you say something? So I think those of us that when we're presented with little problems and we do something, we say something in a situation where it's a bigger problem, we'd be more apt to do something, fight back instead of
Yeah.
flee. So I'd like to hope that would be true, that I
Well,
would
I
jump
think-
into action.
Yeah, and it goes to, speak up when you hear something that's not right. Someone getting attacked or, being shamed, whatever they are, they're different, however different they are. Do you speak up or do you shut up?
Right.
So I'm with you on that because I do speak up now, and you have to suffer the consequences of that. But, that's my choice.
No, it's good. I think it's important.
Well,
I think
especially-
discussion's important.
Yeah, I mean, in this, and I have to bring it up, in this political climate where it's so like, there's so much anger and hatred out there that if you don't speak up, that's the way I feel. I'm not necessarily political, but I'm not going to be silent when someone's like, oh, all the Democrats or socialists, ruin the country, they're
Right.
the worst thing and blah, blah. And so, to be silent is bad in my eyes, but to try to hold a conversation that's, normal with differences of opinions is something I think, not everybody has that
Right.
skill, but I'm going to try to work. I'm working on it.
Right. That's good. More
Without-
people need to do that.
Yeah, listening to a view, not jumping to conclusions myself, which is easy to do.
Yeah.
But
Well, we all have our biases, so
you
it's
know,
understandable.
yeah, but I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Hey, but that's something, Lulu, you and I have talked about many times is self-reflection and recognizing aspects that we don't really love about our wonderful
Yeah,
selves
it's like
and
growing.
working on it.
It's growth. So it's like, are you the person that wants to? Or are you the person that's like, I'm right, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm gonna fight to the teeth to the end. I'm gonna sit on you till you shut up verbally. Go back to my childhood. That was it.
So you
Oh
okay?
yeah, when
So
I
in
was
the
a
50s
kid,
and
I was little,
60s,
so I was a feisty little kid. So to shut me up, my brother used to sit on me.
okay, so now I grew up in the, late 80s, 90s, and to get me to shut up, my brother would hit me with pillows. Just,
Oh yeah, that's
smack me around with some
a
pillows.
little less violent.
Oh, we laugh about it now. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, that's all right. I'm sure, there was days I deserved it for sure.
Hey, that's like kid stuff. Well, and that goes along with, you're supposed to grow up and put that stuff behind you and hopefully not hold on to a
Right.
lot of things that, make you angry. So I guess that's it. I don't want to be angry. I want to have fun and laugh and not be angry and push that
Absolutely.
out.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
oh
and
my God,
hopefully,
I'm sounding like a goody two shoesy.
no. Well, hopefully our listeners will get a laugh, feel happy, not feel angry. If you feel angry, you can email us.
I think we're a blend of things bother us, but I think this might drive some people away. But we're both spiritually based, so our beliefs want us to be better people.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
it's like how do you handle the
okay.
people who don't want to go there?
In addition to the spiritual bent that we both have, we've also done our Myers-Briggs personality tests.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did I do mine?
Yeah, those are those. Do you remember the 16 personalities? And then they group them in 4 groups of 4. So you've got like
Glad she's young
similar.
and remembers this stuff.
I
Because This
do.
is the stuff I don't.
So the part that matters is the group of 4. You and I both are in the same group of 4, and it's like the helpful, the campaigners, the
yeah?
advocates.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, and we were different in that level, but we were both in that same group. So we have very similar mindsets and attitudes about being helpful to others and fairness and things like that and taking care of each other. So that helps us work well together in addition to
we
being
have
spiritual.
commonalities. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot in
I
common.
guess a lot has to do with it. Next time, maybe talk about ooh-wee. Spookies.
Oh, spookies.
Well, it's like the spirituality,
Yeah.
which it always, horoscopes and that kind of thing always intrigued me.
Oh, me too.
And past lives. And I know that doesn't always come together, but I've always been weird like that,
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Let's talk
So,
about that next
Yeah,
time.
it's like, do you think, what do you believe in? Do you think your personality has a lot to do with who you are? Is it influenced by when you were born, the time you were born, and all of that?
All right. I like that.
All
so
right.
if anybody has any comments or questions or anything to add to our next show, we're going to be looking at horoscopes, previous lives, future lives.
Yeah, what do you believe in?
What do you believe in?
Do you believe there's, anything after we die?
Yeah. Ooh.
That kind of thing. Ooh, spooky.
Spookies.
Yeah, you just go away, like, poof, disappear, and that's the end of you?
Gosh, I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, some people think that's it.
Okay, well, I guess that's it for us for today.
Yeah, so email us, tell us what you think, and we'll see you next time. We done. She done.